Writing a book is like writing a song on an untuned piano. Your editor tunes the piano.
And let's talk about love and feeling alright. And let's talk about love. Yeah, baby.
Hello, Vixens. I am JLD, and welcome to my hotspot. I am here to help you. Do you need an editor? Do you need an editor? Do you need an editor? Yes, you need an editor. Oh my God, yes. Please get an editor. Oh, I don't even know why this is a question. It completely confuses me why people don't think they need one. And I understand everything that we do as writers is very personal. It's deep. It comes from our hearts and our soul. And I am one of you. So I get it. And the biggest complaint that I hear is editors are too expensive. Editors are going to change my book. I don't want someone else to rewrite my book for me. No, 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 no. First of all, yeah, they are a little pricey, but there's a reason for that, and I'll get to it. The job of an editor is to, and now three kinds of editing. Let's actually talk about that first. But primarily, the job of an editor is to refine and tighten your work, not to change it, not to rewrite it, not to turn it into something else. It is your book. You have the last say, bar none. Unless you actually have a publishing deal, in which case that could be all out the window. But we're not talking about that. Editors that you hire on your own work are going to go line by line. That's a line editor. They're going to go through the copy. That is a copy editor, which means they kind of take it a little bit bigger, paragraph by paragraph. And then you have your developmental editor, which is the one who looks at the work as a whole and sees if maybe there's some fluidity issues. Maybe things can move a little bit here or there. Questions aren't answered. There could be plot holes. There could be things that have been dropped. There could be things that were added too quickly without preparation. There's all different kinds of developmental issues that can happen in a manuscript. But we, as writers, have it all wrapped up in a tight little box in our head with a perfect bow on it. The job of the editor is to bring us outside of our brain and go, okay, look at the structure of your story. Look at the scenes in your paragraphs. Look at the placement in your line by line, your grammar, your punctuation, spelling. So you want to have editors for your work. My motto, as a lot of you know, is always have other eyes on your work. Always. Whether it's beta readers, you have an alpha reading group for a writing group, if you have a writing circle, but especially even if you don't have any of that, I mean it, you absolutely need to have an editor. So the editor is going to give it a run through. They're going to check it again, punctuation, grammar, spelling, okay, line edits, fine tuning, maybe for flow. Sometimes in our heads, something sounds perfectly fine, but on page it reads like Yoda is talking. And so, but in our heads, it sounds like absolutely normal. But if we don't intend it for Yoda to be talking and it's coming out that way, your editor is going to catch it and go, clunky, reorganize for flow, and for readability. That's the one thing my editor says to me all the time, for flow and readability. Because I'm like, I'm being poetic with how I place my words in this sentence and sentences. And my editor's like, no, no, no. You're so cute. You're so cute. Look at you. Yeah, no. So, and then when I read it the way she suggests, I go, oh yeah, that does make more sense. Your developmental editor, I think, is crucial as well. As I was talking about, developmental earlier is the bigger picture of your novel. So let's take it piece by piece. Line by line is your microcosmic zooming in on each sentence. Copy editor zooms out just a little bit more. And those are the guys that look at grammar and they look at how things fit together a little bit better. They're going to look at flow a little bit more, and subject matter. Your developmental editor zooms out even more to see the entire core of your story, the corpus of your story, the body of your work. And they are really important because we think a lot of times, I know I've done this. You've got the story in your head, right? You're writing it, you're getting it all down, you're obsessed with it, you've got it down, blah, done. And you don't remember that you forgot that you dropped a character in chapter 7. You don't remember that your character at first entered the room with a brandy snifter and then exited the room with an umbrella. Like shit like that is exactly what your developmental and copy editors are for. To look for continuity, to look for anything that gets dropped or erased, to look for things that maybe, hey, you know what, this part here would be so much powerful if you put it later in the story and let it build up to that more, or bring it up earlier in the story and just boom, reveal and kill the masses with it and then deal with those repercussions. That's what they do. Now, remember, editors are not here to write the story for you. They give you suggestions. It is your art. Ultimately, always, it is your art. So you have the final say. My editor sends me suggestions in Word, and trust me, trust and believe for people. Well, I will have to do a video on Word versus Google very soon because there's such a debate about it. But Word is the general accepted love language of writers and those who communicate with writers, such as beta readers and editors and so on and so forth. So when she sends me inline notes and she sends me corrections, each line has corrections, plus she sends me sideline notes. And it's so valuable because not only does she correct my spelling, my grammar, my punctuation, maybe I have a spacing thing I missed, but she also gives me inline commentary on the side via track changes where they're allowed to make comments in Word. It's much easier. I know you can do this in Google, but it's so much more user friendly in Word. And in there, she'll react to, oh my God, this was so amazing. I love that this happened. So she gives me feedback on what works. And then maybe trim this whole speech down to maybe half if you can. Here are my suggestions. Or, I love this sentence. Oh, this is a beautiful moment. She's so encouraging. I love her to death. And then she'll say, tighten this here. I'm thinking maybe this is some misplaced. It needs to go in a different chapter. And she takes me through the whole thing. She has like 2 read-throughs on my books and goes through the whole thing. And she's magnificent. That's what an editor does. They fine-tune you. So to put it easily, writing a book is like writing a song on an untuned piano. Your editor tunes the piano so that your melody is clear and lovely and can be even more appreciated. Because I know a lot of us are like, but this is my vision. I get it. Believe me. But when you have someone who knows your work, and I have developed and cultivated the relationship with my editor for over 3.5 years, and she got into the rhythm and rhyme of my voice very quickly. That's how I know I chose the right one. And maybe we'll talk about how do you choose an editor. God, why that word always makes me go, editor. Maybe we'll talk about how to select your editor in another video. But I knew she was the one when by the second book I sent her, she had understood my pattern, my idiosyncrasies, and she was so forgiving with some of it. And then she's like, okay, look, too many M dashes or like, too many ellipses. Like, I know you love your ellipses, but back off, but she understood my sentence structures too, to the point where she can now edit almost in my voice. She's wonderful. I love her. So that's what you want. An editor is not your enemy. Editor is friend. Editor tunes the piano. And I know like we hear the perfect tuning in our heads when we're playing this book in our minds. And then when someone else reads it, they hear, so you need someone to go, that's a little sharp, that's a little flat, and just give it those touches. And remember, again, it's all suggestion. So when you receive your feedback from your editor, you can disagree with them. You don't have to go, "Thou art the Lord Editor, God King, I shall submit to you." This is not how this works. So what you do is you read their what they say, and you go, yes to all the spelling corrections, yes to all the punctuation corrections, yes to most, if not all, of the grammar corrections, because sometimes we do things for flair or artistic choice, but don't get stupid. Mm-hmm. And when they go and make developmental suggestions, you might say, "No, I like it the way I like it. This is my story. I'm going to keep it the way it is." Or, "Oh my God, that's actually a really fucking good idea. I think I have a whole nother scene I can write to support that idea," which has also happened to me. It's a thing. Believe me, sometimes your editor can inspire you in ways you never even thought of before. The other thing is, there are word choices that they may say, "Well, maybe try this word, or this comes through a little more clearly." But ultimately, remember, you know the emotional state of your character. So you're the one who gets to make the decision of how you change their voice. Your editor is there to suggest. They're giving you suggestions to support you and help you. They are friend, okay? friend, our friends, good friends. But we can also disagree with our friends sometimes, and that's perfectly fine. So don't worry about that if you go, "You know what? No, I just really want that word. You know what? I like this out of order. He sounds like Yoda. I don't give a fuck. I actually want him to. It's fine." Your editor should understand how you are writing, and honestly, you should be giving enough clues in your manuscript. If you have a character that speaks in a quirky way, or things are a little strange or out of order, or suddenly there's a dream sequence, or your time sequences changing or out of order, if your writing is conveying that effectively, your editor will get it. They're not going to try and sit there and resequence a time traveling book. They're going to let you do the art. But if you're not clear enough about it, they'll let you know that too. And that is super important. So I am on team, please get an editor. I beg you, I beg you. Are they expensive? Yeah, they are. Let me tell you why. So I have edited books before, and I do offer editing services myself. And let me tell you, going through a full novel, and we're talking anywhere from 80 to 100,000 words average of a novel, can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how many corrections or suggestions need to be made. So if the work has been well edited already by the writer, it's much easier and faster, which is why I also encourage you to please go through your work with a fine-tooth comb. Do yourself and your editor a favor, and don't make your entire manuscript all about where the commas go. Is this word misspelled? Please use the AI at your disposal in the form of Grammarly, Pro Writing Aid, or even say the spell checker on Word. Just however you do it, use something, because I can tell you, if you send a wreck of a manuscript to an editor, they will send it back and go, "This is too much work for me to be able to complete. You've got to tighten it up a little. You've got to at least correct some of the easy things." And so, don't go first draft, editor, and just toss it. Because I guarantee you, it will be sent back. They will not take your money. They will just send it back and take your pride. "This is so bad. I don't even know where to start. Try again." Didn't happen to me, but it has happened to a friend of mine. So do take care and take pride in your work. Take pride in it. Look it over. Like I said, run it through spell checkers, run it through grammar checkers, do your very, very best, punctuation checkers, to get everything in line. Now, sometimes we don't know all the rules. Sometimes those programs miss something. Sometimes they suggest the wrong thing. Totally true. But give it a freaking try, okay? Make sure you run the story through your beta readers, your alpha groups before beta, alpha, beta, A, B. So alpha groups first. That's your writing circle people. Those are your friends that read things and help make comments as you are writing your draft. Beta readers read it after you've completed your draft. Then you take all that feedback and you turn it into a much tighter, more cohesive story. All the grammar and spelling has been checked, and punctuation. Then you send it to an editor when you are sure nothing could possibly be wrong with it. And then you get your manuscript back and it's full of red because they're like, yep, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's a little disheartening sometimes, but trust me, it gets better because the more you are edited and the more you pay attention to your editor, the more you will retain what needs correction, what are the proper rules of this, that, and the other thing. And English is hard. It is not an easy language. There are so many words and rules. And there's different rules for American English as there are for British and UK English. So it's even that can be a whole nother ball of wax. And I mean, we read a lot of UK stuff. We've watched a lot of UK TV. I'm in America, so I love the BBC. I grew up watching lots of BBC. I grew up reading Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and lots of English literature. So I'm used to the British spellings, and I actually lost points on some of my spelling tests when I was in school as a young girl because I kept spelling them the British way. So yeah, there's a difference. So make sure you pick an editor that is familiar with the grammar and punctuation and spelling of your country. The other thing is once you send that to them and they take it, they go through it. This is why it's so expensive. That's what we were talking about. They're going to go through this and it's going to take, like I said, 2 to 4 weeks. So let's call it an average of 3 weeks. How much money do you make from your day job in 3 weeks? 3 weeks. I know it's going to vary. People make different hourly wages. Some people make tips. But if you think about that's almost a whole month. So think about your bills for an entire month and what you have to pay for an entire month. Rent or a mortgage, your groceries, your dog food, your cat food, your bad habits. Whatever it is that you spend your money on every month, you're buying 3 weeks of someone's time, at least, on average, about 3 weeks of someone's time. That's why it's expensive. It's like, well, how come I just can't find an editor for $500? Oh, you can. They are out there. And some of them probably are pretty damn good. But do remember, you do get what you pay for. So if someone is making a living on editing, they are going to be really dedicated to editing. They're going to be focused on it. They're going to be absolutely invested in you and your story. And they're going to want to turn around a good product because they want you to come back when you write your next book. So remember, you are paying for 3 weeks of their time. And I'll tell you, I've edited books and there have been days where I pulled like 12, 16-hour day on a book because I was in it and I wanted to make sure I wasn't losing consistency or continuity. And I was really into the next day. 6 hours of sleep, got up, got coffee, went right back into it and making sure because I didn't want to lose anything. I wanted to make sure I was keeping track of all the things and stuff so that when I sent back any developmental comments along with the copy and the line edits, I was keeping track of the story and not losing the pacing or, details. And that's what's so important because everybody reads at different paces, right? So one person might read a chapter a night. Another person might read 3.5 chapters, and then 3.5 chapters again. Another person might read 6 and then 2 and then 8. And they're going to see continuity in a different way. So editors have to be keenly aware of keeping the flow 100% beautiful and organic through the whole story. And that doesn't even cover the line edits, suggestions, questions on things. And sometimes we have to ask questions. What the heck does this mean? Does happen. And all of this stuff. So that's why they're expensive. People go, oh my God, $2,500 for an editor? Woof. Yeah, that's not unreasonable. That's actually kind of low end on some cases. I actually charge way cheaper than a lot of editors because I'm just getting my little tires on the road. So I don't mind charging a lesser amount, but find people like me, people who are like, I've edited before, now I'm ready to start charging for it. I feel like I'm able to find people like that can get in and dig into your work, but they're not that pricey. Fiverr is another really awesome place to find editors. There are some fantastic editors on Fiverr, some that work for the big 5 publishing houses, but then have a side gig on Fiverr for extra money, stuff like that. There are possibilities. You don't have to search editors on Google and then come up with, this dude charges $3,500. There's no way I can afford that. There are other cheaper options that are just as professional, just as tight, and just as good. Trust me. So yes, please. Oh, honored creator of worlds, get an editor. There are no excuses. If you don't, you run the risk of making yourself a laughingstock. People say, well, I don't care what people think of my work or if it's good enough or tight enough. You should, because if you want people to pay for your product and make a living off of your product, then you need to make a good product. That's like Coca-Cola or some soft drink company going, well, I don't care what the drink actually tastes like or looks like. I made it, so therefore here, chug away. That's not how this works. If you want someone to enjoy your work, please give it the time. Honor yourself, honor your characters, your story, your creativity, and make it beautiful, make it pristine. And so when you release another book, more people will go, oh my God, I love that first one. I can't wait to see what else they have. That's why. Because you care about it. Thank you so much. I am JLD, and I am here to help you. As I said, I will talk to you later. Please do like and subscribe. Check out my barnowlbooks.net, which is my website. My books and lists of services are there. I offer editing, I offer cover design, I offer coaching, and I will help you through the author journey to publish as well for very, very affordable fees, because I understand and empathize with how expensive all of this is. So I hope you'll come look. I also have a Discord channel. Links will be below if you're interested. Mwah. Take care.
Let's talk about love, like you and me all night, and let's talk about love.